Hello again, and welcome to Taco Tuesday Potluck Edition. This month's topic is going to be about LibGuides. This is going to be an opportunity for libraries who use LibGuides or even are just curious about the product to connect with each other, share your experiences, maybe show off what you've been able to do with the platform, ask questions, and just generally connect about a resource that many of our member libraries use. LibGuides, of course, is a content management system. It's used by many, many libraries in the world and a lot of WILS members. And it can be used to organize and share information. A lot of libraries use it to make subject guides, course guides, even whole websites. So hopefully with the number of people attending today and the kind of widespread interest and the various different library types that use the resource, hopefully we'll have a lot of good conversation today. So as I mentioned, today's session is being recorded, and the link to the recording will be shared with everyone who registered, and it'll be posted to the WILS website just for those folks who weren't able to attend today. So we have a lot of people in the session, but one of them is Amy Mannion from the Waukesha County Technical College, who has graciously agreed to show us their instance of LibGuides and how they're using it to drive their library's website. So Amy, if you're all ready, I will go ahead and make you the presenter so you can give us a little tour, a chance to kind of show off your instance, and maybe that will spark some questions and some additional conversation.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great. I'm going to go ahead and make you the presenter right now.
Okay. All right, so as you can see, everyone can see my library's homepage right now, correct?
I don't see it yet. Oh.
No.
That's funny. It was working perfectly like 10 minutes ago. Do you have to click anything else maybe? Oh, there it is.
Oh, great. Okay, you're seeing it now?
Yep, can see it fine now.
We see it. Thank you.
Okay, so I have been working at WCTC for about 1.5 years, and when I first got here, I do have an image of what our page looked like when I first started. Let me see if I can navigate to that. This page here shows what our library website looked like when I first got to WCTC, and the red line shows you all that you could see above the fold. So it was really, this picture will show you that. There was very little interactive information, and it was completely controlled by our college's marketing department, which meant that making any updates to the page was really difficult to do and took a really long time. The box that you see on the old homepage said that we had reopened in our new location, and that had actually happened about 1.5 years earlier. So it was still saying, come see us in our new location, which was really 1.5 years old. So I spent the summer upgrading to LibGuides CMS, first of all, so that I could make our homepage session pages look different from our LibGuide pages that we use for online research guides. And then I spent the summer making a new LibGuide. So when you're at our homepage, this is what you see. And we wanted to have a search box prominent front and center on the page. You know, the students are accustomed to being able to do research like on Google. So we do feature prominently our EBSCO Discovery search box. And then we have a tabbed box here that allows some more specific searches. So if you click on the tab that says Search Books and Media, this was a book I was just looking up for somebody else. It's still showing here on our search box. But you can see that we have a variety of search widgets that can search more specific places like our print books and and media in our catalog, our ebook collection, films on demand. We have a search widget for WithCat and for WorldCat. We also have some tabs for articles only, but this is what you see when you come to the first page. We have a section for library news, so we're featuring our pumpkin spice book collection right now. We have lots of contact information over here on the right-hand column. We have our library's hours, our current schedule, and a link to our schedule for the entire academic year. And then we also have included a gallery of new books that rotates through, and you can click on these books to go directly to our library catalog if you wanted to see more information and if the book is available, so you can do that as well. And then we also have a link to see all of our new books and media for the whole month. So we are using those features from LibGuides. And then at the top, these are normal pages of a LibGuide. And so you can see that these go to our library guide list, to our A to Z database list. We have a pull-down menu where we have lots of information about the library. So the great thing, again, about LibGuides, you can add images. So we have information about where to return material. So we've included pictures. So we have both images and text, links, etc. Link to some off-site resources like our system that preserves our group study rooms. If you see that small square there with the arrow, that takes you to a completely different site. We have information on how to renew and access your library account. We have a variety of research tools here, and then we have a section for faculty and staff. So the great thing about our banner up here links both to our home page as well as to our wctc.edu page. So we have found this to be extraordinarily useful, that we can make changes immediately when we want to. We've just had a recent new hire. We added her the very day she started. We like having the complete control over our page. We like how much more visually appealing and interactive this page is compared to our old page. So as far as we're concerned, it's just been a all-around positive thing that we've done, and we have no regrets. And I'd be happy to answer any questions somebody might have, but that's kind of our using LibGuides as our library homepage.
Thanks so much, Amy. That's really impressive. I never would have thought to include like a photo of where the book drop is, but I think that's brilliant. There's only so much mileage you can get by describing where a book drop is, but sticking a picture of it on the screen seems really smart. It makes it a lot easier to find that, or the other kind of locations that you used photos of. That's super smart. You talked about a lot of the search widgets and stuff. For folks who maybe haven't used that, are all those widgets pre-built, and were they easy to implement? Did you have to do a lot of back-end work to connect them to your own kind of search, the databases that they'd be searching?
That's a great question, and I will tell you that creating this tab on the home page, this search books and media only tab that has most of the search widgets there, that was the most challenging part of creating this page, especially because I wanted some uniformity with those search widgets. EBSCO does have it's called Build a Search Box, and it's very easy to actually build a search box. There's a page, it's on the EBSCO support site. That's how I built this discovery search box. But you can create search widgets for any EBSCO database and many other database providers. As you can see, Films on Demand has one. WithCat has one. The EBSCO ebook academic collection, I just used Build a Search Box Builder. You do need to know if your proxy server so that students who are off campus can get through to the proxy, but it's pretty easy. And then in LibGuides, all you do is indicate that you are adding a media widget, and you put in the HTML code that's provided when you built the search widget, and then you will have those search widgets there. Again, because I wanted mine to look somewhat uniform, I did have to edit the HTML code a little bit. I'm not an expert in HTML. One of my newest staff members does have, Elizabeth has a lot of HTML expertise that I didn't have, so she helped me when we recently had to change one of our widgets for WorldCat, because now WorldCat has moved to what's it called, Elizabeth? WorldCat has a discovery system that everyone's moving to, and so we did have to change this widget, and we were able to do that. It took a little trial and error, so that is probably one of the more challenging parts of this page, but we really felt strongly that we wanted students to be able to not have to click on a bunch of links and we wanted them to be able to start doing their searching right away.
That's really great. I hope you don't mind. I have a couple more questions.
Okay.
You know what? We've got a couple of questions that came into chat. Ooh, that's much better. Let me relay some of the questions that came into chat. Janine asked, "What is the learning curve on doing your website?" I think maybe like how hard is it to learn how to make those changes and stuff.
I would say if you've never worked with LibGuides before, it would be steeper, but if you already have been using LibGuides to make online research guides, which I think is what, is kind of the most basic use that most people have done, it's not a lot of, learning beyond that. As if you're a SpringShare customer, you probably know already how responsive their support team is and how much information they provide already on their website. So what I did to start out with was I watched their training. They had 2 training sessions about building a library homepage with LibGuides CMS that were each a little over an hour long. They were recorded webinars. And so I watched those, and, this was a summer project that I had done, and I just I watched the webinar once through, then I went through it a second time, stopping at each section and working on building my page. And of course, the great thing about LibGuides is that you can be working and not have something live until you're ready for it to be live. So I spent all summer basically working on the LibGuide. It was a little nerve-wracking when I actually made it the homepage and went live with it, but it all seemed to work out. So
that's really good to hear. I'm seeing actually several comments in chat about the high quality of support and training materials from SpringShare. So that's really good to hear. And I think that they do offer quite a lot of templates that you can use to customize. Is that accurate? Did you find that to be useful?
I didn't use any templates for this other than part of the training encourages you to draw first kind of on paper, like a map of what you want on your page and sort of a layout of how it's going to look, which I did that. So that makes things easy. I think I can show. I actually did a presentation at Wall on creating the LibGuide. So this is the page there that shows kind of how you map out your library page. And then of course my boxes on my home page are those floating boxes, so it doesn't look like most traditional LibGuides. So, and we modified some of the fonts and things like that. So
Cool.
I
There's
don't have the chat up. I don't know what the questions are.
No, that's
So
okay. I'm happy to relay them. Do you mind doing it that way?
no, that's fine. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great. I'm so glad they're coming in, so it's not just me talking constantly. Nancy at Carroll University asked if you got any pushback from communications and marketing or anybody higher up in terms of sort of taking over the website in the way you did.
That's also a really great question. And I will tell you that I sort of did the ask forgiveness rather than permission thing. I kind of made the decision to go ahead and do this. Once I had the page created, I did speak with our marketing folks, and they were surprisingly receptive to it in all ways except one. If you go to our WCTC homepage, and there is a, under our academics tab, there's a place where it says library, and I wanted more than anything when students or users would click on that library link for it to go to our LibGuide page. It does not, as you can see on the screen here. There's a picture of our library area. You have to scroll down and then click on this WCTC library link to get to the home page. So I feel like that's not the most user-friendly, way it's set up, but I was not able to essentially win that battle. We do have all the computers in our Student Enrichment Center where our library is located do automatically open to the libraries, the LibGuide homepage, what we consider the library's homepage. And we do have a really visible presence on our internal portal. It's called MyWCTC, our internal portal. I don't have that logged in. I won't waste the time to do that. But students, I think the majority of our students link there to get to our page. And we also have a presence in our learning management system, Canvas, over in the tools on the left-hand menu. It's a default on all course shells. And when you click on that, our LibGuides homepage comes up there. The only place it doesn't come up right away is on this external website, which is not really what our students, faculty, and staff use to access it anyway. So,
Cool. Fair enough. Milwaukee County, I think that's Milwaukee County Federated, asked, how do you pull in the book jackets and do just one cover? What is your book cover service, and how often do you update that, and how? So that's a multi-part question. How can you tell us a little bit about that?
I think you talked about our rotating gallery down here. That's a function. You don't have to have LibGuides CMS for it. You just have to have LibGuides. But you can insert a gallery, and your gallery doesn't have to be book covers. It can be, it could be any images. So I know there are other libraries that use LibGuides as their homepage, and some of them will have a gallery that's rotating of information, like what's new at the library. So it doesn't have to be book covers. When you add a book from the catalog in LibGuides, once you put in the ISBN, the cover just automatically is imported. And if it's not, you can always try and import it from Amazon. If I log into LibGuides, I can show that if that's helpful. Do you want me to do that, Jeff?
If you are comfortable with us showing us any back-end stuff, I'm sure people would love to see it.
That was my question. Can you hear me? My name is Jennifer, and I work for the Milwaukee County Federated Library System, and I wanted to find a way to do that so I don't have to manually upload images. I didn't know. I would love it if you could show that.
Sure. I'm going to have to go to the place where we do that gallery, which is a sandbox. So let me find that here. So this is the place where I test things out. And so here's our new books and media list. So if we were to edit this is that gallery that, well, I don't think this is the exact one because these aren't those pictures, but I can show you here. So this is the gallery, and when you add a new slide, I'm saying that we're adding a book, and let's say I'm choosing that book that's there because I know that book is there. When you click on this, you know, this isn't the right place. Hang on, let me show you. I'm going to go back. Let me just add a book. Okay, so when you're in a LibGuides box and you add a book from the catalog, book's handy here. I've got a book right here that I'm going to enter the, I'm going to manually enter the ISBN, but if you were at a computer where you had a scanner, you wouldn't have to manually enter the ISBN. You could just scan it. Okay, so I'm entering an ISBN, and when I click on Get Book Info, the cover art is automatically imported, and it's coming from Syndetics, but if for some reason it wouldn't show up, I can always try to import it from Amazon, and I can even choose Other and go out on the web and grab a book cover and just import that image. But 9 times out of 10, I would say, as soon as we scan a barcode, the cover automatically comes up. Does that
That's
answer your
fantastic. Yeah, I never looked at that add book from the catalog feature before, so thank you. Have you ever done a list of ISBNs, like maybe 10 ISBNs at one time, or you just scan the ISBNs one by one?
One of my other employees updates our rotating gallery of new books that you saw on the homepage every month, and I know she comes out with a cart of books. She brings it out to the information desk where she's working, and we have the scanner. She decides which covers look most colorful, which books maybe are the most interesting, and then she does scan each one individually. But the way she used to do it, I can show you that as well. We used to have, let's see, our old library page. This is what we used to have for new books. It was literally just a list. Nothing was clickable. It was completely textual, and that's why we decided to change to this rotating gallery that you can click on and see more information about the book and see all the books. So she does end up scanning all of them because they all eventually go on that link that says see all new books. And she tells me that, you know, it doesn't take her long once a month to do all these new books. Probably an hour or two, I would say.
That's great, thank you.
Yeah, when we when we add a book from the catalog that I was showing you there, what we usually do is, and oops, I'm sorry I lost that, but once it goes in, it will default with a lot of information that we don't always want. We always put our call number in, and we put our URL in to link it to the book catalog. So you do have to go to the book catalog, grab the URL, and paste that in. Okay.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Amy.
Sure. Any other questions?
Do you have well, there's one other question came into chat, but I think it's about pricing. So that's something that I can.
I can help with that, Jeff.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. This is Sarah. So the Rachel was asking about the CMS module, which is considered an upgrade, and the list price for academics and public libraries is $1,300 a year. That's list. You get a bit of a discount going through Wills, and then the price for the K-12 CMS upgrade is $400 a year list.
Thank you. That's great. I never would have been able to find those numbers so quickly.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat too, just so.
That's dynamite. Amy.
I know one of the other features of CMS that we don't use is that it allows you to use an LTI tool with your course management software to like essentially push specific LibGuides into a course shell. So if you're using, if your school uses Canvas or Blackboard or Moodle, there's a tool that you can use that you enter, and then you can have specific subject LibGuides automatically be imported into the course pages in your learning management system. We are not currently doing that, but that's how I first got interested in LibGuides CMS, because I had watched a seminar or webinar about that.
That seems like that would be really useful. Do we've talked a little bit about LibGuides and LibGuides CMS. Are there other, I can't remember, I should know this, but I can't remember, are there other modules that you use at Waukesha County? I know some of our libraries use LibCal and other plugins. Do you use any of those things?
We do. We do not use LibCal, but we have LibAnswers that is what drives our chat system, and we record all of our transactions at the information desk and our reference transactions through LibAnswers, which we really love. And then we also use LibWizard, the LibWizard Lite. We use that to administer surveys for library instruction and other things. And then we also use LibInsight to track our patron count and our instruction sessions. So those are the things we use from SpringShare.
Great, thank you. Jody asked, I think just a follow-up question, did you say that you would need the CMS module to do that kind of import to Moodle that you mentioned? Is that specific to CMS? Do you know? It's okay.
Yes. Yes, I believe it is. And if you go on SpringShare's website, you can look that up. It's called I want to say it's called an LTI tool. If you look that up in SpringShare's help menus under LibGuides CMS, I mean, it will come up right as soon as you look up LibGuides CMS, because that's one of the features that they promote, is that you have the ability to push subject guides, to actually have them like delivered into CMS, into whatever your CMS is.
Amy, do you mind answering a few more questions? They're still coming in. Everybody's loving what you have to say.
I'm happy to answer them.
So we have a more general question about CMS. Can you describe a little bit more about what CMS allows you to do than just having LibGuides doesn't allow you to do?
Okay, well, one thing that it does is that it allows you to have different groups of guides that have their own look and feel. Okay, so they're like uniquely branded. So all of our library home pages have the same banner, the same, the way these are just like titles of the boxes, and so they all look the same. And so all of these are LibGuide pages, and so they all have the same look and feel, the same, they're all part of the same group. So it allows you to have groups. That's what's the main function of LibGuides CMS. Whereas if you just had LibGuides, all of your course LibGuides are going to look, you'll have one look and feel for all of your LibGuides, and so your homepage would have to look like them as well. So if you look at our LibGuides, and if you scroll down and look at, we're in the process of upgrading a lot of our LibGuides, but if you go into our LibGuides, you can see these look different than the home page, and that's what CMS allows you to do, is have different groups. We also now have a number of departments on campus that are using LibGuides. I will show off one of our department's LibGuides. Our global education department, which is not the library at all, they have their own LibGuide. They asked if they could use LibGuides and got some training from us and went ahead and built their own LibGuide for global education. But you can see there, the top banner is still the library because I have not made them their own group yet, but we're getting enough outside groups that I may consider having yet a third group of LibGuides. So there'll be our regular online research guides, LibGuides. There'll be the homepage, which are all the pages that make up our library's homepage. And then I could have a third group, which would be LibGuides that we are supporting for non-library departments on campus. I just haven't gotten around to that yet.
Does that answer the question that you put in from Milwaukee County? I'm sorry, I've already forgotten what your name is.
My name is Jennifer Schmidt, and that did answer the question. Thanks. I sort of asked a few more, and I think that was Rachel's question.
Oh yeah.
Ask away. I'll answer anything you want.
Yeah, I was wondering about the question about groups. I think that we had a question of, is anyone using the groups feature with staff or with committees?
Yeah, that's me. I didn't know if, there's also SharePoint out there. I was wondering how LibGuides groups work, where you enter in people's emails, and I would like to see that if anybody's doing that. I'm a little nervous about starting it.
Are you doing anything like that?
I'm not sure what you're referring to with it. What do you mean by entering the emails? I'm not sure about that.
Well, when you have a group, I think you assign it to different people within LibGuides so that they're able to just see a certain amount of content in LibGuides that other people are not able to see.
You know what? We are using that we've created an internal procedures manual. It's an internal guide, so I think that might be a function of CMS as well, that there's just an internal guide. Let me pass that up for you. Right here. So this is I've given permission only to library staff to have access to this internal guide, which is our procedures manual. So
yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Don't want, the public seeing, I'm trying to think of some things here. This is stuff that's not available to the public. It's only available to library staff.
Right. And so you had to manually add in, did you add in all those emails one by one and say you're allowed to see this? Is that how it works? Or can you add in like a listserv and it brings in people, or can you just have it be a link? I didn't know if you had to specify individual email addresses because we have a lot of staff.
Sure, we don't. So when you create an account in SpringShare, once someone's in SpringShare, then you can always modify their account. But I don't know if there's a way to like batch enter people into SpringShare accounts. So a lot of our staff already had accounts, so it was just a question of what do I assign them to. So, but I did do that manually, but I only have a staff of like 10. So.
Okay. One of the things we do is we have a number of library directors, and on our LibGuide site, we password protect just those pages, but I had to create kind of a separate area of LibGuides, and I was wondering if the groups would be better than doing what I'm doing. But I partially did that because I didn't want to manually update all the emails over time.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not sure what would be the best practice there for you. Maybe the folks at SpringShare could help you. They're really responsive. I would send them a message explaining your situation and see what they recommend.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Does anyone have any other questions for Amy specifically? Okay. Amy, you have been incredibly generous with your time and letting us see the front end and the back end of your setup. That is so cool. Thank you so much for for taking the time to do
You're
that.
very welcome. Are you taking the screen back? Are we
yes,
good there?
I'll take the screen. Yes, thanks for the reminder. I will, how do I do that? Make myself the presenter.
I don't know either. So.
There we go. Okay, I think that should be it. Move back to that little welcome screen.
Okay, thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Amy. So does anyone, who else might have a question or something that they want to discuss as far as LibGuides or other kind of SpringShare products go? Does anyone have something they'd like to show off, a subject guide or a page that you're particularly proud of maybe?
Hi, this is Janet Mikflis. I'm happy to share what I'm doing, humbly.
That would be great. I was actually hoping somebody from a public or a K-12 might want to show things on the, are you comfortable with me making you the presenter so we can see your screen?
Sure, that's just fine.
Okay, let me go ahead and I will set it on our end to make you the presenter, and hopefully it pops up on your end fairly seamlessly, and then we'll be able to see. Oh, there it is. Ooh, what a pretty desktop.
That's a children's book. So let me, I'm a little bit humbled, but
oh,
okay.
It disappeared again.
Oh no, that's probably because I have two monitors. Can you see this?
Yes, I see you scrolling on the website now.
Okay. Well, I will try to be kind of brief here. But what we had, so I work for the Milwaukee County Federal System, and we have, we represent public libraries in Milwaukee County. So we have many branches and many locations. Milwaukee Public is one of our members, and they have 14 locations, just to give you kind of an example. And what we're doing is, well, I won't explain all the stuff we're doing, but one of the reasons why I wanted to use LibGuides is because we had, this is our old site, and we have something called a knowledge base, which has, this is password protected, and this had a lot of our internal policies. And as you can imagine, in a bigger library system, we have just many, many policies. So I thought LibGuides would, and we do have the CMS product, I thought it would lend itself pretty well for managing all these policies and trying to organize them. So this is, when you click on here, this is kind of what we had before. And it was based on ASP. And then if you look at the, let's just say public service, you'll see there's a number of, can you see this okay, everybody?
It looks good to me.
Okay, so like, for example, circulation, you can see these are all policies related to different aspects of just circulation. So you kind of get a sense as to there's just a lot of content, but it's really hard to find things. And also newer staff are constantly coming, and a lot of people don't know that, you know, things having to do with M blocks are C23. So I wanted really something to be a little bit more searchable and easy to use. And, you know, we have a lot of these manuals and things like that. So, and I reached out to MATC, shout out to MATC, they're online, because they were really generous in the Milwaukee Area Technical College. You know, their library staff helped me kind of gain a little bit of confidence. So when you go to our site is, there it is. I guess I didn't have it up. Oh, you know what? I did have it up. Let me just reduce this. And I'll make it small because okay. So this is what I did. I looked at Oplin, which is Ohio. It's a system in Ohio. And I noticed they were using LibGuides. And I really like that they use CSS to kind of customize it because I wanted it to look, it's really big. I wanted it to look more like a website, but see, you'll notice that if someone wants to know about, you know, there's something damaged, you can do a search and you'll find things on delivery. You know, you can very easily, you know, find things on phone notifications. You can, that search mechanism was really a draw. So what we did was, you can see we have a lot of committees, and I'm thinking about using groups, but for LDAC, which is our library directors, that's where I have that password protection. And that's kind of how I'm handling that. But we have a lot of policies by area. So then for circulation, you'll remember we had all those numbered areas. I've chose to put the tabs on the side, and then what we're doing is migrating over our content from that old site to here. So you can see kind of how it corresponds. One of the newer things that I'm doing in LibGuides is using the forms. So I'll just go over here to our login. And we have these forms, and we're trying to do more with this. So one of the areas that we have is, so this is a form that we made through LibGuides, but it's called LibWizard, and it allows us to internally, our library staff can request content, and it goes to an email. And then in reverse, we have our County Cat is our discovery, or our basically our OPAC. We're trying to add in forms here. This contact us is, we embedded one of these forms. And what I like about LibWizard is we had been doing a script so that if you pick your municipality as Greenfield, anything that's added here, we could control that it goes to not my email, but the email of the Greenfield library staff. And we had a mechanism for doing that in our old system, but LibWizards allows you to do that without having to know a lot of the scripting. So, but that's, you know, the forms is a newer area that I'm getting into. So we have one for request a purchase. And it's been really kind of a learning curve to do this, but it's kind of neat. You know, you can test it and say, you know, if they pick Franklin, it's going to go to the Franklin. And you can also have it expand that after you enter in your email or your title, you know, then new things pop up. I can't remember what I put in here. You'll notice like, it didn't do it, but some things will expand as you're entering the form. So if anyone's doing anything cool with the form, I'm trying forms or LibWizard, I'd love to hear about it because I'm trying to get a little more savvy with it. So one of the other ones we're doing is when a staff person comes on board, you know, they request permission changes or they want to be added to one of our listservs. In any case, what else can I tell you about? What I'd like to do is something that Arlington, I think I'm running out of time maybe, but Arlington, Virginia is like, I have a crush on them right now because what they do.
Library crush.
I have a library crush because they have a really great site here, but somewhere in here they've actually embedded LibGuides, and I'm really, hopefully I'll be able to find where it is because I don't know if I know, but I think they have, well, they have embedded LibGuides in here, and I'm not going to remember where it is, of course, but they did it really seamlessly where it's in the main part of it, but then the rest of the page, it's embedded in their website. And that's the next thing I'd like to be doing. I'll have to find it. Maybe it's events. I don't know where it is. I'm sort of trolling to find it, but see how they've embedded this calendar. Well, they've done it, they've done it really nicely. Where was it again? Maybe it's a FAQ. I can't see it right now, but somewhere in here they've done that where it's their regular website, which is what I'd like to do, but they've embedded it with LibGuides inside. So maybe as other people are talking, I'll find it and I'll send the link in the chat. Are there any questions about what we're trying to do?
Well, I have a question for you, Jennifer. So do you mean, when you're talking about embedding it into the site, you mean rather than having a a LibGuides URL, like a link to like a different page. It's just part of.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Because eventually this site, the reason why we want to do that is eventually this site's going to be password protected just for staff. I'm trying to get people to use it, but then eventually it's not going to be public. The whole thing will be password protected. But at the same time, I'd like to siphon off some of the content so that it's to the public. So if you look at hours by library, this is a LibGuides page, but I've embedded a Google document within it. But what I'd like to do is have some of these pages to the public and some of them behind the scenes. And that's why I was asking Amy about those groups. Because, you know, I'd like to have LibGuides be flexible where part of it is public and part of it's not. But most of our LibGuides is going to be private. So that's why I'm interested in what Arlington Heights is doing. Or Arlington Public Library, rather, sorry.
That's interesting. If anyone else is doing some, oh, great.
Here it is. This is, I'm sorry, here, see how it says LibGuides here, and then they have content. Oh, now I lost it. But they have branded it in their LibGuides, and yet they are still, we can still easily navigate back to their regular site. See how they did that? And I'm trying to figure that out. But anyways, I'm still really pretty new learner here.
Well, I'm impressed with what you've got. I would, if anyone else on the chat has a suggestion for Jennifer or has done something like that, feel free to jump in and unmute yourself or put something in chat if you want. Thank you, Jennifer, also for sharing with us too. I really appreciate that.
Sure, I seem to have lost my screen.
Oh, well, here, I'll make myself the presenter and then.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Sure, no problem. Well, does anybody else have other questions, topics you wanted to talk about? Anyone have a particular challenge in your instance in LibGuides that you'd like to get the group think about? Okay. I always worry about letting too much time go after asking a question, forgetting that sometimes it takes time to type something into the chat box. So it seems like maybe we don't have any further questions. Well, I will say this. We, of course, Sarah mentioned this earlier, but Wills has a long-standing relationship with SpringShare. We do have some discounts from them for any Wills members. So if you're interested in learning more, getting trial access, getting a quote for a base product or an upgrade or anything like that, please let us know. We can pull more information together. I think Rachel said, hey, a pricing list of those various modules would be great. I think we can do something like that. We definitely can do that per library, but if it's all the same per library, then we can probably just post something or at least send it to the group. Feel free to reach out to me if you're, well, anybody, but of course I work mostly with our academic library members. If you're a K-12 or public library member, Sarah Gold might be your first stop, but either one of us can help you out if you've got questions about LibGuides or really anything related to Wills. We're coming up towards the end of our time anyway, but I want to make sure that there's time for any additional questions or comments or discussion. If you have some burning question or topic you want to get into while you have the group here, now's the time. Okay. Well, why don't I take us to the almost identical thank you for attending slide. So thank you all for coming and participating today. As I said, feel free to reach out to Sarah Gold or myself directly, or you can always email us at coop, that's COOP, @wills.org for any questions or feedback. We're always happy to answer questions and help put you in touch with resources that might be valuable to you in your library. Next month, we're having another potluck edition, although it may end up being kind of a hybrid between having a vendor talk a little bit about something, but also having members speak up as well. Right now, we're thinking it's going to be about accessibility of library resources. So if you have been doing work in that area, evaluating your own library's resources for accessibility, or just interested in learning more about that, keep your eyes peeled for more information about our next Taco Tuesday Potluck Edition, which will be on November 5th. So with that, I think we'll say thank you so much for attending. I hope you're eating tacos, and if you're not, why not? Anyway, have a great afternoon. Thanks so much for attending, everyone. Talk to you again.
Thanks, everyone.